The Firm, India's only show on corporate law, tax and audit matters.
Hello and welcome to The Firm. On the show this week, a unique debt takeover that can turn the tide for India's asset reconstruction industry, and why the Ansals were found guilty of negligence in the Upar fire and yet escaped imprisonment. It's a one-of-its-kind takeover, a debt takeover that sets a precedent for India's asset reconstruction companies or ARCs and offers hope in resolving the crushing pile of non-performing assets that are burdening Indian banks. Today our top story is about how Edelweiss ARC has taken control of the beleaguered Bharti shipyard, its plans to revive the business and what this means for ARCs in India. This giant cargo ship has no takers. It was built a couple of years ago at this Bharti shipyard in Goa. But faced with a shipping downturn, the company that ordered it no longer wants it. Therein lies the story of Bharti Shipyard, a company founded by two naval architects in 1973. Bharti started with a small shipbuilding yard in Ratnagiri and over the decades added 5 more. It went public in 2004 and in 2009 Bharti fought a bruising and expensive battle with rival ABG shipyards to acquire Great Offshore Shipping. It cost the company its future. Soon after, in 2011, a downturn in the shipping industry and an 8,000 crore rupee debt burden pushed Bharti into a corporate debt restructuring scheme. But the CDR failed. Bharti was quite literally at sea.
Good evening, sir. Yeah, I'm calling from Edelweiss ARC.
Financial services group Edelweiss set up an asset reconstruction business in 2010. At the time, ARCs in India focused mostly on asset stripping, buying an asset with a 5% contribution and then selling it in pieces. In 2013, RBI changed the rules, forcing ARCs to have more skin in the game. Now ARCs contribute 15% of the asset value.
When we came in business in 2010, there was no sale by any bank. There was no sale of assets by the banks. It took in 2013, after the present governor came in, took charge, he suggested that all banks should utilize the ARC infrastructure to manage their NPAs. That was the time, that's precisely September 13, the banks started selling fresh NPAs. When I say fresh NPAs, it's NPAs of vintage 1 to 2 years, where the viability is still not lost. That's how 2013 onwards large scale sale happened, and that's how Bharti came.
That was 2014. Sibi Anthony got an opportunity to fulfill the ARC's desire to focus on revival and not asset stripping. Edelweiss bought 60% of the debt that Bharti shipyard owed.
This has been our demand. The bank should sell the asset as a consortium to one ARC. This was one of the first consortium sales done by the bank. Second factor was the asset was priced right. We felt it was priced right.
Edelweiss bought 60% of the 8,000 crore rupees of debt at 30% of the loan value. That's 1,600 crore rupees. At that time, the 5% rule applied, requiring Edelweiss to invest 80 crore rupees. It took Edelweiss another 15 months to acquire the next 10% of debt, but this time at 15% of the loan value, because the rules had changed to a 15% contribution. That's another 18 crores, taking Edelweiss's total investment to 98 crore rupees.
Debt aggregation has been a challenge, because the bankers have to take a decision to take a hit more than 70%. So if we have to buy at a viable price, it has to be, they should take a hit of around 80 to 85%. It's a challenge for them.
That's a consequence of the move from 95.5 to
5 to
85.50.
85%. See, we look at the earning of around 18%, which is very, very reasonable in a business like this. It's a very risky business. If we have to get that 18% return, I need to recover nearly 150% of my acquisition value. And in a 1585, that has to happen. And if I recover 150%, the major beneficiary continues to the bank.
But any investment recovery depends on a revival of the business. Currently, Bharti has 63 ships under various stages of construction, but no money to build them. Last year, Edelweiss had to sell a Bharti windmill for 55 crore rupees to pay 7 months of unpaid salaries. This year, it loaned Bharti 30 crore rupees to complete work on a vessel. It's a challenge to keep the business afloat.
We have drawn up a short-term, medium-term and a long-term plan for this company. In the short term, we should keep the yards running. In the medium term, we identified a few ships. Presently, we are thinking around 6 to 8 ships, which can be completed. Our estimate is we put around 400 to 500 crore fresh money.
Where is this 400 to 500 crores of fresh money going to
That's
come
what
from?
is our endeavors now. We have 2 funds coming up. We are term sheet in the final stages actually. We should be able to tie up the same thing in 3 months' time.
This is a unique takeover, right? Because it's a debt-led takeover and not an equity-led takeover, which is what the country has been conventionally used to. I want you to explain to me how the modalities of this works. Is it your CEO who runs the show? What happens to the incumbent management, the erstwhile promoters? How do you balance all of this?
They are all there. As I said, the promoters are committed. It has a management, but management width has been, that bandwidth has been eroded a little because when the company becomes slightly distressed, good people leave. That's a normal tendency. But since the stakes are very high, we thought we should give the bandwidth to the management, and we set up a committee of the existing 2 promoters and
The
interim
CEO that you all have appointed.
to take all critical decisions of this company going forward. Finally, we need to revive and find a strategic investor for this company. Why I said the strategic investor is a must? Because this business works on non-fund based bank guarantees and letters of credit. This company cannot get bank guarantee anymore because all banks have invoked the guarantees, and company is in this stage because of that. So if they have to get new orders, they need a different management with a deep pocket, maybe foreign collaborations or foreign strategic investors. It has to happen.
Edelweiss hopes to be able to exit the Bharti project in another 2 to 3 years. It hopes by then the shipping industry will recover. There's other kinds of cleaning up to do as well.
This cleaning up is today company has 8,000 crore of secured lenders.
Right.
There are 100 and odd unsecured lenders.
100 in number?
Yeah,
Unsecured lenders.
unsecured lenders.
How many of
There
them?
are,
How many of them have filed winding up petitions?
Yeah, in fact, all of them will come to file. 12 of them have filed winding up petitions,
Okay.
which has been accepted in the court.
Okay.
So that crystallized amount is being paid by us.
How much is that?
It's around 9 crore.
These are not
all
bondholders or
These are all mainly vendors.
vendors.
Company is registered with BIFR, so hopefully there won't be any further, cases filed against the company. That's one thing. Then we need to, design a resolution strategy, a restructuring scheme which has to be approved by the BIFR.
Have you worked out what is the best case scenario and the worst case scenario? The worst case scenario is you don't recover anything and you lose all 100 crores that you've invested in this asset. Not just 100, 130 crores.
We won't lose that. See, this 100 crore is 595 and 1585. In any recovery, the management fee plus the recovery will take care of the capital investment. Worst case scenario, if we sell all the assets, we will get around 1,000 crore. That 1,000 crore will take care of your investment and your return.
And the best case scenario?
Best case scenario, we should be able to recover maybe around 6,000 to 6,000 crore plus.
Well, I'm told that Leela Hotels is the other such instance of a debt-led takeover. And there does seem to be a mindset change after the Bharti Shipyard story, because you have both banks and promoters now more willing to do such deals and work with ARCs to revive businesses. In fact, Sibi tells me that he now has 4 to 5 cases where he expects to participate in management in such a debt-led takeover and help turn the business around. We're going to take a quick break on the From. When we come back, why the Ansals were found guilty of negligence in the Upar fire and yet escaped imprisonment.